Check 1 2 1 2. I see my son is in here. Well, he's not here, but I see him in the chat. So close enough. Close enough. How you doing, Marcus? He is not at the office today. He was at the office earlier today, but this is Vlog Thursday number 225. I'm going to talk a little about XCP-ng, UnIFi, and probably a lot of business talk. It is a late day. I actually left and went for a walk because I had, it was nice out. I needed to get out for a minute. I have been much, much busier than usual, and that's why there hasn't been as many videos. But it's all for good reasons, and it's easy and tangible to see what I've done when I make a lot of videos, but much less so tangible when you're working on process, workflows, and everything else. And I've been kind of deep in the process and workflow of things, but there's going to be some business videos that come out of it. I'm working on content for starting that second channel. I just feel keeping this channel very technical and then creating the second business channel is what I want to do. So the process of that, because of how I want to do the business channel, it's going to be much more organized. It's going to be like a series of videos for some of the topics. I haven't decided exactly how to do it yet, like all the details, but that's a lot of what I've been thinking and working on here. So my son's like, why are you at the office so late? I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, it just seemed, I could have probably done this from my house, but I figured I don't live far from here. So I just came back over to here to the office because it's easier to press record than bring anything home to record with. This is all dialed in, set up, press the button and go. This laptop, which is my laptop that I usually have at my house, I just grabbed this and brought it with me. It's not particularly powerful to do any streaming with, but I figured I'd at least do a stream today, even though I was so busy earlier today. And we did do the Home Lab show, which worked out really well. So that I did have time to do that. But a few of the business updates we'll get to. Let me talk about XCP-ng. I think they did another blog post today. But one of the things I want to talk about it, and I'm going to do some new getting started videos with XCP-ng. The project has changed a lot, and it's just been wild. So what is it? This one here? The origin... Let me think. I don't even know if I read this one, but just in general, one of the things to go back to this, go over their site here. They're at the Development Summit. The data centers they're working at. It's been pretty cool because we've now taken on just in the last week several large projects with XCP-ng being part of it. And these companies are, buying the Zen Orchestra, buying support from XCP-ng, having us work with some of the architectural design of it. It's been really cool. And it's kind of exciting because I always laugh when there's someone in the comments that says something along the lines of, is it ready to work? Is it still just a pet project or something? Kind of being dismissive of it. And I'm just like, this is becoming a bigger and bigger project in some of these European data centers. The companies we're working with are stateside here. Well, one of them, I didn't ask where they're at. I think they might be out overseas, but at least part of what they're doing is overseas. But it's really cool, and all of them are moving away from VMware. That's the one commonality besides them choosing us and choosing XCP-ng. They are also moving away from VMware. I'm just seeing these larger going, and we're talking like they're billing with VMware. I think they said right now was $20,000 a month is what it divided out to be. So it's not compared to VMware, yeah, $20,000 a month is not something that much to VMware, but to them, they wanted to expand greatly, and they just didn't see a path to do that in a cost-effective way because they needed to scale to a much bigger scale. And they're like, VMware's not going to, they said it's going to cut into our margins so steeply that spending less money with XCP-ng feels better support. And after some of our initial, testing and everything else they did with it, they're like, oh, this is just great. The enthusiasm was there for the way the product works and everything else. And it's something that I want to kind of try and figure out how to put into a video to really show, and maybe I'll reach out to the team over at XCP-ng, who wants to do an interview or something and put something together about how this works in a data center that we can really talk about publicly. to really showcase that this is not some toy project. This is not some little, open source project that a few people are working on. This is a legit, scalable, large data center deployments being done with really solid open source virtualization platform. And I don't know, it's just really impressive. The whole team over at XCP-ng has been really great as far as watching the features they're adding, all the development they're doing, the amount of activity and time they spend in the forums helping people and troubleshooting, on the free side of things, and then also offering the enterprise level support packages that you need. I mean, when you get to be that scale, you kind of need someone to guide you through a little bit, and they have that as a component of it. That's how they make their money. They don't hide it. They offer, paid support options and licensing fees for paid support. That's actually pretty cool. Incident level support. So just kind of being enthusiastic and really thinking about it. It's just, like I said, been really cool that when they first started with a Kickstarter only a few years ago, bringing it all the way to where they're at now, to have this absolutely huge hypervisor and a constant new features, including, one of the features that I like so much that I'm going to pull it up real quick because I just get a kick out of it. And this came from someone sharing. Well, they did a pull request, and in the description, they put a timestamp to one of my videos because I had suggested this and didn't think to make it a pull request. But it's basically being able to go here to the network and just hit copy to clipboard on the network. I mean, it's so simple, and they do have the ability to copy all over the place, but one more place. So if I want to SSH into this, I can hit copy to clipboard and just paste it in. Oh, you got to get the host key right. There you go. And now I can just SSH in real quick to another server. It's little things like that add up really quickly in terms of, time savers, especially when you're spinning up a bunch of different things, or you just don't remember what server got which IP address because you got everything DHCP and you're setting it up. It's all the little niceties that have been really built into this that have been pretty awesome. So I want to do a new video coming up that'll really dive in deep of it. I want to make a really solid training style video, because that's actually what someone asked. I said, I have some getting started videos, but one of the people asked, because I consulted with them, and they said, well, people from my team, what's a good thing to watch for that, or what's a good training program? And I'm like, that's maybe something I'll put together, or maybe write a book on. My friend Jay's encouraging me to write a book. Jay from Learn Linux TV, he wrote a book, and maybe I'll write a book on Zen Server. I mean, I've done a lot with it and quite familiar with the product, but at least first starts with, I make videos easier than I write books because I don't know how to write a book at all. But if I start with the whole, really in-depth tutorial, nice time index, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can jump around through it to the part you're looking for. And that'd be pretty cool. I think that's going to be something kind of exciting to do. So first time live ever from Western Australia. Awesome. Marcus is going to go finish cutting trees. Marcus, you should do homework. I feel confident my son is not completed on his homework because he's not always completed on his homework. Before we jump to another topic a little bit here, though, I decided I needed something sweet today. This is ghost peppers and blueberry. This is the perfect thing if you like pancakes that are spicy. Spicy pancakes, man. This is the Bravado Spice Company. I've talked about it on my channel before. As many of you know, if you first time here or anything, I talk about spice every time, especially on Vlog Thursday. And this one right here, anything from the Bravado Spice Company has been really good. But the ghost peppers and blueberries. Ghost peppers are pretty spicy. Blueberries are nice and sweet. You put them together, it's actually it's a really great flavor combination. Have I seen Water Panther drives? I don't even know what that is. What is a water? That seems like something I shouldn't Google. Water Panther. Should I say that? Will that get me in trouble? Water Panther server drives. Dell compatible, HP compatible. Interesting. I have not used these drives. I don't know. Is designed to operate a multitude of Dell. Oh, okay. So they're designed to be compatible with Dell, HP. So just Dell and HP. I don't know much about this company, so I haven't heard of them. I know nothing about them. I can't really give you any solid information there. What's a book? Quite a few people, many more than I expected, as I learned from Jay. But they buy a book, but they buy it in a digital form. So there's a lot of people that buy a digital form because they want to go through and have a reference on a particular topic. Like Jay has his Ubuntu server book, and because of that, the downloads he gets is sorry, yawning a little bit. He gets a lot of downloads, and they give him stats in there, so a lot of digital download sales of it. So it's pretty cool. Books are still pretty there. Tortilla chips and Tabasco. They are, sometimes I still love Red Hot. Some people will go, oh, you got all these fancy spices, do you still even like the basics? And I'm like, I love the basics. Tabasco's good. Red Hot's good. Any of the basic ones, I'm completely good with it. It's late on a Thursday and it's still at work. Yeah, I have a hard time shutting it down. When does Tom stop working? It's really, when you own a business, people ask about work-life balance, and the problem really isn't work-life balance, so to speak. It's the fact that I don't know how not to do what I do, and I love what I do. So I just throw my passion into what I do, and I just keep pushing forward and doing it. I'm always, fingers on keyboard. The only time I really stop is when I'm on my bicycle rides or motorcycle rides. I get on my bike or motorcycle, I can, so to speak, I sound like an addict. I can stop anytime. And I kind of do. If I need to take a break from something, I do. One thing that I will say for work-life balance is there comes a point when you learn you're not effective. So you do have to stop then, because at some point you're reaching a level of exhaustion, and I call it like decision fatigue. When you have so many things thrown at you, you've made so many decisions at some point that you kind of go, you know what? I know the next series of questions or choices that may come at me, I may not make a solid decision on. That's when I know it's time to stop. And I start really second guessing and seeing less confident. I go, it's probably just to stop, take a break from it all, go home, do it the next day, do something else, go for a walk. I went for a walk today for like an hour and put a podcast on, caught up on some of my podcasts, and maybe over an hour I went for a walk. That's one thing about podcasts. I started putting podcasts on. I'm just walking until the podcast is over. I don't measure my walks in distance. I measure in time, minutes of podcasting. So I can let Google figure out the distance. I don't really care. But that's how I do the work-life balance. As you could tell, at some point, I have reached the decision fatigue of today, but I still say I do a live show every Thursday, so I'm here doing a live show Thursday. So I am probably easier than ever to get off topic because I'm way less focused. I'm drinking tea, and I know after, because I woke up so early today to start working on things, that I will undoubtedly fall asleep very quickly after I leave here, which I have a very short ride home, so. That's very hot sauce. Try Murph's hot sauce and made in Denver. Murph's hot sauce in Denver. We'll look that one up real quick. Made in Colorado. All right. So that's MurphsCondiments.com. I don't think we've had these. We have a few hot sauces that we have a client in Denver who has packaged a few things up for us and sent it over. So they didn't say this. They sent some local stuff that I don't know. It's not sold nationwide. But this looks pretty cool. Maybe we'll give this a try. We're always looking to try something different, stuff we haven't had before. That's always appreciated. Always looking for suggestions. No sleeping in the Tesla. Yeah, probably not. And no riding in the back seat. There was some moron that thought that was a good idea. Someone decided that riding in the back of their Tesla was a fun joke, and they got arrested because that's stupid. Just because you can doesn't mean it's a good idea. And it's still a system that requires some level of interaction with the Tesla autopilot system. So it should have a driver paying attention. It should have not some moron sitting in the back seat. But hey, people do dumb things occasionally. So, next topic, UnIFi. And I think this may need a dedicated video at some point in time. I want to figure out how to word this, and I want to talk about a little bit of behind the scenes at YouTube and doing reviews. And I have bought lots, and I would say I bought the majority of everything we bought that's ever been reviewed on this channel was purchased by me. Me, the company, however you want to look at that. But UnIFi does occasionally send me things. Well, UnIFi did occasionally send me things. And I just quit hearing back from them, and they just quit replying. And I think what happened is, after I kind of said a lot, pointed out shortcomings, I guess you could say, that they just decided they don't want to interact with me anymore. And that's fine. I don't really care that. I mean, I care. It'd be nice to get free stuff, but whatever. And, but it's kind of interesting that they, how they acted like they didn't want to send anything to anyone, but all of us YouTubers talk to each other. So we actually know what they say to other tech reviewers. And it's funny that they're sending more things out to other tech reviewers again, but making sure they avoid people like myself. But I'm a mixed bag. And I kind of decided anyways, I'm trying to purchase more products rather than get anything for free. And it's just one of those things. I want to make sure that, you know, even if I get something for free, I'm not biased. That's what's made UnIFi mad at me. And it's kind of just become, I'm going to spend more time just buying the stuff, just out of pocket and reviewing it, rather than, that way there's not even an implied bias. That's one of the things that, you know, I don't mind if something sent to me and maybe there's some one-off product I wasn't aware of and the company wanted to reach out and send. That's fine, because maybe I wouldn't have even considered buying it until they sent it. But the other side of that too is, you know, I don't want any implied bias. And a lot of times it's me being interested in a product that makes me want to review it at all. And so I'm going to work out some more vendor giveaways, because I wouldn't mind, instead of me getting the product to just review, I want to get the product and give it away. I seen Wendell from Level 1 Techs. I think he had a really good idea. And it was how he wants to give things away. I believe he did a giveaway on, I don't remember what he was giving away, honestly. I just remember hearing it of, he was going to have people post in the forums and pick someone at random that way. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of cool. That way we know it's someone who wants it, and it takes a little bit of effort on the other person's part to confirm that they want something by registering over in the forums. And then I'll create a thread in the forums just for that. And I actually have kind of a collection of things here that I don't think we'll use. So I'd like to give them to someone who could use them. Maybe if it's, especially if it's something I get in review that someone wants to send over to me, maybe that's something someone else could use in their lab. Something, we have a lot of stuff in our lab, especially if some of it's duplicated. I don't, at some point, I don't know what to do with the larger collection of it. And I would love to help out somebody. Now, I know by saying that alone, you end up with a lot of people raising their hand. So now I have to come up with a way to pick it at random, because when you say you're giving something away and you have a pretty big number of people following you or watching a video on a topic, now you'll have a lot of people that want that thing. So I'm going to work on that, because right now I look over this way because there's just piles of stuff kind of gathering. And I'm like, okay, probably some of these things need to go somewhere. I always, you know, my staff takes what they want. So my staff does get stuff. They kind of, you know, they help out here a lot and they get first dibs on a lot of things. But there comes a time when there's just more things than I know what to do with that are here. So that's another kind of related to it. I know it's kind of an offshoot of me starting with UnIFi, but, you know, the UnIFi is definitely a part of that. If UnIFi sends me things, like, I don't know right now on whether or not I'm going to keep doing reviews on the door system. I boxed it back up. My interest level in it is pretty much not. I know Cody over at Mac Telecom Networks has done some great reviews of it. He's interested in it. I think Chris did a couple extra follow-up videos on it. I don't look at it as a long-term product, and it's not a product I'm super interested in. So unless my mind changes or I'm compelled to start using it and installing it, I'm kind of wishy-washy on that particular system. And, you know, maybe I should just give it away rather than let it sit in a box over there. That's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about related to that. Your feedback is greatly appreciated on any of these things here, folks. But, you know, that's... oh, yeah, let's see, reading some of the comments here. UnIFi pouting at the folks giving them free airtime instead of listening to valid concerns. Yeah, great idea. I know. Yes, we do camera installations. Have you guys tried offering services on AWS? No. Tried offering services on Amazon Web. I assume, do you mean the hosting services, Amazon hosting, or do you mean like offering technical services on there? If you can clarify that, Jonathan, that'd be great. But yes, we do lots of camera installations. Well, that's been, that's the funny thing about UnIFi. I did a recent review of it, and I don't understand sometimes. I see people say, everyone's leaving UnIFi. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're buying more of these systems. That's why they're out of stock all the time. We still like the UnIFi video platform. There's, some hate comments on my recent review of it. I get it. But it's one of those systems that's easy to install, easy to use, easy for the client to use, which is huge, and very price effective for these small offices. So we keep selling their product. I don't care if UnIFi doesn't like me no more. I don't care if UnIFi is not going to retweet me no more, which that's another thing I noticed they don't do. If I post something about UnIFi, I don't think they've retweeted any things, even if I'm positive. Like I did a good review of their product, but they're like, nope, ain't touching that guy. He complains about us. He doesn't say nice things all the time. And I'm like, that's because I'm always going to give my honest opinion. That's what I think my audience deserves. My integrity means way more than what a free access point. I mean, honestly, none of their stuff. That's when sometimes people think I'm paid to do a product. I'm like, it's not really worth my integrity for a couple $100 device. It's not even worth my integrity under any amount of money, but it's almost laughable to think that I would sell out for something that's worth a few $100s. That's almost very funny in an amusing standpoint. I wouldn't sell it for any amount of money, but it's still a point of odd to me. Oh, you're just saying it because I gave it to you. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm super wealthy, but it's a couple $100 access point won't make or break me. I'm just going to throw it out there. UnIFi has had some significant leadership changes. As far as I know, Rob Pereira still runs that place, so I have not seen his name changed on it. They have an Amazon spot where you can offer software as a service product. Never seen the AWS stuff for that. They used to have like this professional installer thing they offered years ago. I don't know where they went with it. I remember looking at it and looking at what people were offering to work for, and I said, that's a race to the bottom, and I'm not interested. So last time I looked at any type of services, hardware installation type services or assistant services, they were priced so low they weren't something we would be interested in doing. Yeah, I don't know exactly. UnIFi is not a transparent company about exactly what goes on, so not exactly sure. And for a prosumer, like Carl says, yes, it's hard to find a competitive in the same market for a lot of that. That's just the fact of it. RAID Z or ZFS RAID Z2 setting up a Proxmox server. I would go, I'm way more a RAID Z, ZFS person, so RAID Z rather than using hardware RAID. That's my opinion. I think ZFS is substantially better than any of the hardware RAID. Many other people will agree with me. Someone, though, will call me the cult of ZFS. But nonetheless, the ZFS is the way to go, in my opinion. I would say UnIFi's documentation is better than a lot of companies, actually. Outside of large commercial, Cisco's probably got the best documentation out there. Cisco has a massive amount of documentation and certification programs and things like that. It kind of goes downhill a little bit from some of the other vendors, and especially trying to figure out their product lineups can be rather confusing. UnIFi's actually got a pretty decent level of documentation. That literally, most of my videos are made from reading the documentation that UnIFi offers. I've kind of joked that I can't believe some people like, oh, someone actually commented, all you're really doing, Tom, is putting together documentation and making videos about it. I'm like, my business model for this is not a secret. I mean, this is literally, I read through the pfSense documentation, and then I make videos on pfSense. I reference the documentation. I often leave links to the documentation page that references my video. Like, yeah, it's, I just try to fill in any blanks that may be in there, but yeah. So UnIFi, I would say, still has a winning business model with their what do you call it? The way they do their network access points. This is actually something interesting when you look at Microsoft. Microsoft took forever to pivot. Microsoft made money off selling like the Office and, commercial licenses. Microsoft lost money on everything they tried to do besides that. There was a time when Microsoft was bleeding something like $500 million every quarter on Bing. I mean, Bing, they were sinking so much money into Xbox. It took years of them losing money on Xbox. Microsoft lost money on everything trying to do it. Remember when Microsoft got into music players? Do you remember when Microsoft bought a phone company to try to make phones? Like, the company has lost money on every product, and then they found Azure. And they go, Office 365 subscriptions in Azure. Now they're making money on those things. It took them a long time to pivot. I kind of feel UnIFi is a little bit, in some ways, they make so much money off access points and switches. All the commercial consulting we do, all the business consulting, and of course a lot of the home user, smaller stuff consulting we do in small offices, switches, access points. Nobody likes their firewalls. They're constantly hated. The only people that ever want their firewalls worked on are just some basic home user stuff. And they usually want something done that can't be done, which that consulting job usually says, well, you're going to switch out to pfSense or some other firewall. But I think they do such a good job on two products, it gives them the money to experiment. And with UnIFi Protect, not the original UnIFi video, but UnIFi Protect, UnIFi landed something solid. The UnIFi Protect system works, it sells, it's constantly out of stock, it's in demand, and we know we're buying from some of the large vendors because we're buying so many cameras at a time. We're not always buying them direct from UnIFi, and our sales reps will tell us, yeah, we're selling a lot. Like, we can't keep this stuff in stock. We got people calling us all the time for it. So it's really is selling. They're doing well with that particular product line. Where does that leave some of the other idea products? Them trying something, seeing if it works, going back to the drawing board. That's, you businesses like that. It's hard to say what will really stick in the market, but yeah. Zune's had a lot of cool features, but yeah. I do not have any IPsec site-to-site VPN videos. Oddly, I've just never done one. Lack of demand. I mean, we set them up all the time. It's not something we don't know how to do here. As a matter of fact, one of my staff members is particularly good at it, especially mismatched firewall setups. He does a lot of those. Here's this firewall and here's this firewall, two different brands, make them play nice together with IPsec and figure out stupid little quirks that may come up when you do this. Two of the same brand firewalls is arbitrary and easy. Two different firewalls means, oh yeah, by the way, you check this extra box on one firewall to make this thing do the thing it's supposed to do, and that can be a problem. Is UnIFi moving forward Talk? I have no idea. Talk's another one of those, they've already screwed that idea up once or twice. I don't know if they're going to get it right in the future. Let's see, what else do we have here? I don't know that their product line is too spread out. It's hard to say. As long as they don't screw up their switching line, their switching and access points, as long as they can keep those flowing, we'll keep using them, because that is hands down one of the easiest products for management and setup. They've just got a good combination there that works. We've got so many of those deployed at so many places, and it's been just a solid, predictable, reliable device. What do I think about an Araknis ecosystem? I don't know what it is. Never heard of it. Araknis Networks. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Trusted and reliable in any environment. That's, are Our exclusive Araknis products are expertly engineered to deliver the best-in-class performance and support in a wide variety of network needs. Never heard of them. I don't know if they're good or bad or other. I know they want me to accept some cookies. Home blog. Nothing about buying. Where do you buy these at? You can read or... Oh, cloud managed. It's really scary when you have a company that wants to start up a product. I don't know how long they've been along. I don't know here. I guess I'd have to read their blog. There's not an About Us page, so there's a first fail. You know, I should have an About You page, and why should I use you guys? Because when a company starts up, their oldest blog post is from when? I bet they didn't date it. Oh, look, they didn't date their blog post. Do I see a date somewhere here? Comments are closed. When random company says, use our random cloud thing with our cloud service that you're locked into. Oh, okay. What if it goes down? Then what? Well, we'll stay in business. Don't worry. We have a free business model that we will last almost forever. I don't know. I'm not a big... Here we go. Shop. One brand, one solution. Kits, accessories, access points. How big is that thing? That looks suspiciously like the TP-Link one, but I don't know how big is it. It looks kind of awkward big. We already have the TP-Link one. So I haven't heard of these. I don't know. They're... I don't know if they've been around a long time or not. 2-year warranty, but has the company been around for 2 years? And who's Snap? Why am I on Snap AV when I click on this? Is it... See, these are problems I have with sites. About Snap AV. Snap AV is the company behind Araknis, I guess? Snap AV brands? Okay. That doesn't tell me a lot about them as a company. Brands, products... What's new? Press releases. Customer relationships design high-quality products. Explore and learn more. Learn why. So they're an AV company? I don't know. You can see my confusion dealing with some of these companies and why picking products is, yeah. Anyways, let's see. Do you think data centers will be gravitate towards U2, M2 drives or something else? I don't know. Probably something else. Whatever data centers gravitate to, depending on the type. You have your high-speed needs for high-speed compute. Then you have your larger storage needs, and your large 45-drive rack servers back there, full of as much storage as you can get packed in there. It all depends on use case. Data centers are always looking for the cutting edge of both. The largest amount of storage or the fastest amount of storage or any combination in between. So it's local or cloud manage. Okay. I'm assuming we're talking about Araknis there. I don't have any USGs anymore, so I can't answer questions about DHCP and USG firmware. What else do we have? They're big in the high-end home sphere with Control 4. Okay. Yes, if you're doing it high security, you do lock down the ports for the switches, disable all the unused ports, limit DHCP. Yes, that's all stuff you do when you're setting up a high security environment. Oh yeah, press that like button. There's 140 on here, but only 24 likes. Let's get some likes on there. Get rid of the USG. I'll go with that. Now I do keep, like I could give away my UnIFi Dream Machine, but I keep that so I can be disappointed in it. One that we plug it in so we can see what features it does and how poorly it does them. We still have people that contact us for configuring and resetting up their UnIFi Dream Machines. So I would stay far, far away from QNAP. QNAP has just been a disaster of backdoors lately. And I kind of laughed. I listened to Steve Gitz on Security Now, and someone pointed out the best way to secure a QNAP is to reload it with Open Media Vault. I guess I didn't know this, and I don't know what models it's supported on, but apparently some of the QNAPs will support Open Media Vault. So if you get a QNAP, I guess as long as you don't use it with QNAP software full of backdoors and bad code, then yes, you can get a QNAP. So other than that, go with Synology. TrueNAS is great too. If you're looking for a TrueNAS, no problem at all. They're different. I've done the video kind of TrueNAS versus Synology. People ask me to review QNAP, and the more I've learned about QNAP, I have zero interest in reviewing QNAP. And QNAP reached out to me. I didn't even want their free stuff. I thought about getting one of their switches. I think QNAP had some good deals on switches. But that's about it. The weird thing is the switch, I remember them reaching out to me and me saying, here's my address to send it to, which is my office address. And they didn't send it. I never heard back. And I also didn't follow up. So that, I just wasn't inspired enough to go buy one. I think they did send one to Willie and Chris. I think Willie and Chris did videos because they sent them one. Yeah, we've been updating firmware with no weird DHCP errors, so. What's the chance of UnIFi access coming to the MVR? I have no idea. It would never come to the USG. Maybe it'll come to the MVR. It seems like that'd be a good place for it, but I don't know what UnIFi's plans are for that. I'm unclear. So they do not make product announcements and timelines. You can make some guesses based on beta posts. That's about it. Is there any way to SSL in switch other than self-signed certificate? That depends on the switch. Some switches may have an ability to load certificates. Some may not. It's not universally the same on all models. So the ability to put an SSL cert on a switch is going to depend on the switch, what model you have. And basically log into it. Is there a certificate manager built into the switch that you're using? That's the question you need to answer. If they do have a certificate manager, awesome. You'd be able to put a certificate in there. I imagine it's more of a high-end function. I don't see it often. Mostly, switch management. I see more of it done through CLI and SSH. The more enterprise high-level switches are usually going to be command line in to configure. UnIFi supports 4 SSIDs per radio unless you turn off wireless backhaul. Then you get, I believe, 8 SSIDs per radio. So UnIFi supports both. It's 4 SSIDs or 8 if you turn off backhaul. If you're not using it, if every one of your UnIFi access points is hardlined in, you don't need the backhaul and you can free up the radios. I don't remember I think all the ones they currently sell offer 8 SSIDs, but I don't really see it as a downside. Most places don't have more than 3 SSIDs. We seen in someone request for quote. We told them we weren't interested. They sent it to us again. They seem to want us to do it, but they have some weird stipulations on there that we're like, no, we're not interested in. So, but they wanted 16 SSIDs set up for a single school district. And we're like, no, why? But I thought that was rather odd because we've worked with some of the larger school districts here and they don't have that many SSIDs. It's at some point you make your network confusing and Yeah, I don't get it. So let's see. Yeah, hopefully it helps, Benjamin. But I don't think for SSIDs, like I said, one of the very large hospital networks and thousands of devices, corporate network, well secured, well put together with 3 SSIDs. That was it. 3. They didn't need a 4th. They used, it's 300 access points with 3 SSIDs on them. I mean, it wasn't even a part of the design. It was, and it worked perfectly fine like that. So I don't get trying to manage a whole lot of different radios. You know what? It's almost always home users that try to do things like that try to put like every device on its own SSID and things like that. And I'm just like, yeah. And the same thing with VLANs. There's a limit to how many VLANs you should, before it becomes confusing to try to, I don't know, I watch home users try to subdivide every device into its own VLAN, and that seems a little bit of overkill. So, yeah. Oh, so we can switch topics real quick for a laugh. Where did it go? I bought a truck. That's what I was busy doing. So I bought a Dodge truck. So you got to put, we're making Doge things for it because I think Doge is funnier than Dodge. And so this has been my amusement, is the staff 3D printing some Doge keychains for my Doge truck. So I want to get a little Doge sticker on it, and we've been trying to figure out if we can replace the emblem in the front and put a Doge on there. So there's that. And hold on, I gotta grab the Doge. Because why not? Yes. It looks kind of more like a bear, but boy, does it look cool. So we have the Doge truck. We got the Doge head here, which my son says is rather creepy. Actually, it's kind of creepy, but I like it. I don't know. It's a neat talking item. Let's see. Oh, you like the Home Lab podcast? Awesome. Noise and where to put the device. Well, where to put servers in a house in a home lab is a whole different thing. So dealing with noise in a home lab. Chris did a video on a very quiet case. Chris from Crosstalk. There are some cases that are quiet, but they're expensive. So placement is anywhere it won't bother someone, and that's the kind of it. The coloring on this is really cool. We have a spool of this weird. As it unspools, it's got a series of different colors in it to create this. It does look awesome. We've been printing lots of stuff with this. Matter of fact, where did the other things go? Here, let me grab something real quick. Again, I have a lot of this. We've been printing all kinds of things, very intricate things too. So that's pretty neat. And then this one's actually one of my favorites. I really like. There's actually been more printed, but it's all left the shop already, went home. But yeah, that's a wild looking 3D print, ain't it? That is just really cool. So yeah, these are all the little things that have been getting printed over here. Set them all up on something. Will this balance right there? That'd be cool. The floating head. That's a downside. You got to glue the head to something because it does not sit very well. Let's sit up. It sits upside down. Put it in Azure AWS. Yes. Hopefully that helped. Would moving multiple SSIDs, schools, student, staff, SIDs to different VLANs be responsible? Well, I don't think I would put the students on. I mean, one, don't give access to the. I mean, I guess if you have to, maybe a guest network for student devices, but you would use isolation because you don't want the devices talking to each other. So you'd want to set up an isolation so the devices have no lateral movement between each other. That's how a proper guest network should be set up, which it's frequently not. But that's a different topic. You don't need that many VLANs. You have like maybe a student laptop network where all the student laptops connect, and that can probably be the same as a teacher network, because if most schools I've run into, in the ones in our district, are all using Chromebooks, the students don't have direct access to the passwords or anything like that. They're all tied to tied to one system, so it's not too big of a deal. That's the business network. Then you have a guest network with more limited, throttled per device restrictions with no lateral movement between them. As a matter of fact, with the student network, you probably using a bunch of Chromebooks don't need lateral movement there, but you'd want, bandwidth management. So you don't need that many different networks. And maybe you'll have another network that's more for the other side, the non-teaching, like the administrative side. And that's probably enough. And then from those, you could always VPN to the other side to be able to get to more things on a network. Maybe print some logos. Yes, that'd be kind of cool. I could 3D print a holder. We could probably 3D print the dog. If we printed the entire Doge dog, that would be the holder. That would be a way better holder. Whole new time zone for the stream. Kind of. I am winding down about 10 more minutes, and I am going to leave because I'm tired. It is 9 p.m. and I wake up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning every morning. So the 3D printer, we talked about it 3 or 4 episodes ago in one of the Vlog Thursdays, but it's a Shark 3D printer. I don't know the model, but it is in that video. I know very little about the 3D printer stuff. UnIFi NVR or UnIFi Cloud Key. Oh, UnIFi NVR is way better. Like, I don't care for using the Cloud Key. Definitely use the NVR. Yeah, I don't think the Cloud Key does a great job with the UnIFi video. How many Chia plots do I have? Probably 1. Because someone may have seen Project Chia Pet. I don't know if someone's seen this in there. I got curious. I'm not promoting this at all. I just did this as an experiment. And it's... hold on. I don't know. I guess it doesn't even matter if someone sees my wallet. There's nothing in it right now. But on that off chance, let me just log in. I set this up because I was curious. I just got to log in real quick and then I can share the screen. I got curious about it, but I don't get it. I actually am going to go with, it's just, oh, wow. So that's interesting. It doesn't look like my keys are showing anywhere here. Whoops. There we go. So apparently I'm farming, and my estimated time to win is 28 years. It is insane how big the Chia network got, but I don't know that. Like, I looked at it and said, this is, I don't know. Every time I look, the time to win gets bigger and bigger. I've already seen some people saying you can't do it unless you compete with like absolutely incredible amounts of storage. Like it's not like the concept that it was for the common person went right out the door, and now there's hard drive shortages. It's just like the Bitcoins and everything else. I don't get it. Like to me, it's not something. I found it kind of interesting from a technical standpoint because I want to look at it, and that's as far as I got. I farmed one plot and built it and said, yeah, whatever. And if you want to say, Tom, you could be making money with it, I'm not interested in just making money out of magic coins right now. I mean, I like making money. Don't get me wrong. It lets me buy cool things and, you know, more stuff for the printer because I don't make money with this. This is just cool to look at. But I don't know. It doesn't really hold my interest enough to really say. It doesn't mean you don't make money trading it and investing. That's a separate topic altogether. But in just turning a bunch of machines and farming a bunch of hard drives, it's not one that it has the argument that it is less of an economical disaster than Bitcoin is. But the problem is it's now a different disaster. You're just proving you're holding hard drive. You're not even creating something cool, like a shared pool of anonymous network space that you could do something with. Like I didn't see that and understand that as part of its function. So I don't know. Like I said, it's not something that held my interest. The more I started learning about it, the more I shrugged my shoulders and said, yeah. Nonetheless, I will say this, it's not particularly CPU intensive. Chia plotting is hard on the drives while it creates the plots. The farming of the plot is not drive intensive. Matter of fact, that's one of the questions that I was curious myself. And you know, here's me logging in where I bump the CPU, and there's not a ton of resources dedicated to this. I mean, there's some, but it doesn't really use much CPU at all. And disk space, and look at how the network is just nothing. And by the way, it's using network attached storage to do this too. So the networking would show the network attached storage activity. The plotting does nothing. I mean, granted, I have a single plot. I am not doing this. Anything more than one plot was the minimum needed to do to set this up to make it work. But my interest in it is pretty low. Yeah, hard drives being out everywhere has been really annoying. But yeah, like I said, and I'm not going to do videos on it because I don't want to I don't want to be part of that behavior. People, I know it gets a lot of views because I had to watch a couple of videos and I'm like, you know, just holding hard drives just to prove you have them so you can potentially get magic coin. I don't know. I don't know how that furthers society. Someone has a reason it does, but of course, sitting next to me here, so, the things I'll leave you with is what Tom... I didn't like these envelopes. I reprinted them. I'm weird like that. So this is what Tom had to mail out today, though. Internal Revenue Service. Yeah. I definitely... A couple hours ago, I was really thinking I should build a mining server because on this papers, this is all my tax filing stuff. And on here is make check payable to, I paid all my taxes. They're due on the 17th. I mailed them all out today. I don't give them money early, and I owed a lot of taxes. So that's the consequence of making money in America is you have to then pay out some taxes. So that was what I did today. But I didn't like these are the I don't know why my accountant, when they gave me the envelopes, they just have stickers on them. And I'm like, no. I like all my envelopes on letterhead, printed. I got my company logo on it and with the address printed on there. So I reprinted the envelopes. I don't know. I like things nice and formal, and the paperwork is all nice and printed and folded in there, along with a very large check and a thank you to them for taking my money. And yes. Yeah, I know there is a point if you do enough plots that will ramp up the CPU. So there is that. I do know there is a threshold by which it will occupy more, but yes. Is there any reason to use UI product for a controller? Any advantage, or is self-hosting the controller way to go? We do have not plugged in. We have one because when people want an on-site controller and they don't want to spend the time dealing with the server like a business, and we just did a business where we put a cloud key in. They wanted a couple switches and a few access points, and they wanted to manage it themselves. Sold them a cloud key. They did not want to pay anyone else to manage it. They didn't want to have a server running to manage it. And dedicating a whole server to it, I mean, someone will point out you can run it on a Raspberry Pi, sure. But instead of Raspberry Pi, we'll recommend a cloud key in that situation because it's a nice singular box. But as far as functional, it's the same. And if you have your own ability to host it in your own server stack, as we do, host it there. That's just better. You know what I mean? Host it in your own server stack. That's just, there's no advantage to buying this device over doing it yourself. But make sure you back it up because that was a consulting job today. Someone had 10 sites at a business and no backups, and they broke the controller somehow. Not having backups, not good. So that doesn't change whether you're using a cloud key or backing it up, but just back it up. Whatever you choose, whichever path you go down, self-hosted or on a cloud key, do that. So taxes on paper, no digital signed documents. I didn't know how taxes are paid in the US. They are paid via, I mean, you can do an ACH transfer, I think. But we generally, because these are specifically my personal, not business taxes, I ACH the business stuff because you set up an account and my accountant processes the taxes, and a lot of it is just sent via wire transfer, essentially. But these are the yearly personal taxes. And this is where the US is probably a little bit more confusing than some other states because we have a lot of different tax structures. My specific tax structure at this company is an S Corp. There are other ones in most of our states because there's also states that don't recognize LLC. I think there's only a few left. You can do LLC, S Corp, or Corp, and each one has a different set of tax rules of how the taxes are applied. I'm in the S Corp category, which means the money that comes in, less the expenses, is passed through a K-1 form to the shareholder or holders if there's multiple. I'm the only shareholder in this company. I own the 100% of the shares. So I am liable for the tax liability of the company that then flows through to my personal. That is then subtracted from my payroll and draws I take out of the company because those are subjected to taxes at a different rate. So there's a tiered step of rates that are calculated by an accountant that turns into this. And literally this thick is how the file, I mean, they're an envelope, but these are the filings for one tax year for myself and my business. It's that's just all the forms that have to be sent in. It's a lot. I mean, that part's filed digitally, and then all I do is take the little tear-offs with the pay amounts and put them in envelopes so they'll fit in a standard envelope, and I mail out to each agency. Now, each agency, this is where it gets more fun. My wife works in a different state. We live by the border, so now we had to file with the state of Ohio, and then the state of Ohio has a city tax, so we had to file with the city of Toledo. So we had Ohio City, we had Ohio State, city tax, and then we have Michigan state taxes. So there's different entities that all had to get checks today. and we all, well, actually, the city of Toledo didn't get a check, but the state of Ohio owes me $42. So they're mailing me back. You still got to file all the paperwork, but they're mailing me, I think, $40 or something. There was some, I don't know how that worked out. It's convoluted. There's a reason accountants in America make a lot of money. They deal with heavy amounts of complexity. It's one of the challenges sometimes running a business is the tax complexity in the US. Like my friend in the UK, there's less jurisdictions to deal with. We have a lot of jurisdictions, and even doing work in certain cities, like I'm in the city of Southgate, but I tell people I'm from Detroit. But technically, the border of Detroit is 11 miles north of me. But when you do work, an excessive amount of work in Detroit, and you pay people that also are doing work, the physical work happening in Detroit, you may end up incurring a city tax by the city of Detroit for working within their city. So you have to track all that. Yeah. So, My son, when you're done with your stream, can you bring me a Switch? Yes, I will bring you a Switch, son. Yeah, so doing taxes is oh yes, I can expense postage and stuff like that. So yes. Don't give the IRS your bank account. It doesn't work. It doesn't quite work that way. The IRS can seize things out of your bank account even without the numbers, in case you're wondering. So, yes, my wife is a financial advisor, so she helps the other side of financial advisory of what different financial vehicles, I think is, I always thought it was weird. They call them financial vehicles. I've heard that term a lot, but it's the structures you set up of where to place all of that said money you make and where to put it. So it hopefully earns you more money rather than statically sitting somewhere. I don't know how many, the camera count for UDM is confusing, but it's on their site. It's something like X number of low-res cameras or a fewer number of high-res cameras. If you look on their site, they tell you how many cameras it supports. I don't remember what that number is. We never see anyone buy a UDM Pro for cameras. Use it until it's slow. How's that? If you find it ineffective and slow, then you may want to look at a UnIFi NVR. Let's see. That's an amazing answer. The complexity of taxes is mind-numbing. I don't know. Amazing may be another term for it. Mind-numbing is definitely. If you only pay yourself less, 38 cents a year, you can pay yourself stock dividends. That's kind of... So that becomes another complicated topic of how taxes work. So I actually am on payroll. I have a regular payroll check, but then I can take draws as long as they don't exceed my annual before tax salary. So yeah, you take dividends on that, because I could take dividends and all that fun stuff. That's a whole, I don't know if I should do a video. That's part of why I want to do a business channel, because I don't mind diving into some of those topics to give a better understanding of taxes and things like that. I'm not an expert on it, but I mean, I can give the overviews and I can tell people where to look. And I'll always tell people, please, I am not an accountant. I'm a computer guy that runs a business. Therefore, you should hire a tax expert like I did. And my usual disclaimer of no good legal defense starts with, well, this guy on YouTube said. Let's see. They're going to pass a law that the IRS can look at every single transaction. You clearly live under a rock. They currently do look at every single transaction. All transactions, and this goes back a number of years that this was started, the IRS, when I do business transactions between another company, all of those transactions, all of that data is logged. All the credit card company data is logged. All of that has to match the filings. That's why these filings are so complex. That was done forever ago by a guy named George. And when George Bush did all that, it never got removed. The level of access they were granted forever ago, because all the records became digital. Yeah. So that's not even a change here. That's the same thing they have now. That's just the way it is. The government has a unprecedented level access to the flow of money back and forth. The craziest part about that, I always think this is, me and my son were laughing. He sent me this meme before, and you probably have seen it yourself if you've been on there. The government does a game of poker with you. They have a sealed envelope. In the sealed envelope is how much you owe. You have to also file a series of papers that matches their sealed envelope. But you can't ask them questions. Hey, what's in that envelope? How much do I owe? You got to lay your hand down. It's like a game of poker. And if it doesn't match, you win a trip to jail. So the IRS like you have to match all those transactions that they have a copy of already have to match. Because that's when you file your taxes wrong, they know they don't match because they have a copy. That's what they're referencing against, is whether or not everything lines up. So it's really funny that you're filing all this taxes to something they already know. What they really want to know is what you are going to skip and what's going to be misaligned. And if the variance between what they have in their sealed envelope that they won't share with you, is that's how taxes work, is too varied. And I go, we think you're lying. Let's talk. Yeah, the best thing to do is put it all on a CPA. That's, yeah. That's the end of that. Anyways, it is so tedious. Where do you get the stickers? I get the stickers from everywhere. I am a Patreon for Darknet Diaries, so you have a Darknet Diary sticker. I got this at a Linux convention. Bishop Fox, I did a video about a hack, and some of the team from Bishop Fox reached out to me. Awesome security research people. I got this when I was hanging out with Huntress down at their office. I give money to Tor. I'm a donor to Tor, so that's where that came from. This says Sunday Morning Linux Review, so that is for other podcasts that we kind of loosely do now. This is for the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which I do donations to them. So most of the stickers are because I support things, and there's something I truly want to support. Now, please, before we go, if you guys could bash the like button, if you've seen that one there, that's a sticker you can get from our website. So if you look in the description to our links in all of our videos, you'll see a link to the t-shirt store, and that's where you can find that. So yeah, well, as long as you can always overpay the IRS, and they're fine with it. They won't complain if you overpay them. It's really when you underpay them that you're in trouble. That's the trigger. They'll take more of your money, but don't give them less than they think you owe. That's when there's a problem. Yeah, so that's my little, I rant about it, but it's just part of doing business. What are you going to do? So yes, the Cat 6 shirts, we got these. So that's the thing. So there's that. Is there a description? I'm going to find a link so I can drop it in here. There we go. We'll pull up the shirt store. Hey, why not? Buy that swag or something like that, right? I dropped the link in the live stream, but yes, we do have swag. There's the bash the like button. Raid is not a backup. I got to order that shirt. We have our hoodies on here now. This is the hoodies we wear at the office. Well, you get them in gray. Oh, wow. They're only available in black right now. Anyways, they look good in black too, but I have mine in gray. But yeah, these are the hoodies we got. The Extinction hoodies. There's the Cat 6 shirts. So if you need a Cat 6 shirt, and yes, the tails do match the colors of the thing. And it comes in gray. The gray's not bad. I like the black ones better. I have a couple gray ones. I've spilled things on them, so I do not wear them anymore because I occasionally need a bib, I think. I don't know. So, but yeah. So we got those, and then for people's amusement, let me go back one more. I'll leave you with this. We do have this shirt too. In case you, how do I make it bigger? There we go. There we go. If you want that shirt, we have that one too. That's our crimp hand shirt. Oh, I found an Easter egg in here. I didn't even see this. the description that Kyle put in is, we'll make your network purr with Cat 6. So let me zoom into that. I did not know this was here until like a week ago. So there. That is greatly amusing to me. So any more final thoughts? Love the crimping one. Hey, pick one up. We have plenty of shirts in here. So I don't promote them as much. Maybe I should promote them a little more. These things are pretty cool though. I don't know what to do. Like, I bet if I took orders for these, I'd get them. But you know, this takes a long time to print. This is a lot of work. Well, it's a lot of work for the printer. T-shirt with hot sauce stains available. That is truly what is on there. There are definitely hot sauce stains on the gray shirts. So that's a thing. That's a problem. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Look forward to next week. I will probably do it back at, not this time, but a normal time, because I don't always like being here till 9 o'clock at night. But well, I'll roll with it and see what happens. And I should be getting caught up and back to my normal self, because projects will get rolling. I put the wheels on the project, push it down the line, and my staff takes and runs with it. So that's the plan. So thank you very much for everyone who joined. Thank you very, very much for people who are smashing the like button along the way. And see you all next time, and check out, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Take care.